Hi everyone, woolly hat on today. The reason is my wife did this to me, so we'll keep the hat on, I think. Right, okay, now in this video what we're looking at is something called supply side policies. So over the last 2 weeks or so you've been looking at demand side policies, and demand side policies were linked to trying to smooth out the fluctuations in the business cycle, so remove positive output gaps by using deflationary monetary and fiscal policy, and then using expansionary fiscal and monetary policy to smooth out negative output gaps. Supply side policies is not looking at the business cycle as such, we're looking at the trend rate of economic growth. So what we would like to do ideally, if I was thinking about the business cycle, is to make the trend rate, so time, then we've got real GDP, I want it to grow at a faster rate. Now the way that we do this is through the use of supply side policies, and these are all designed to either improve or increase our country's factors of production. So what we're looking at doing is about making our land, labour, capital and enterprise either more of it or to improve the quality of what we've got. Okay, so what supply side policies will do, they will increase the productive capacity of the economy. So what they will do, they will make the PPF curve shift outwards, as shown in this diagram here. So what these allow for is what we would call long run economic growth, and if we can make that PPF move outwards, well, the actual GDP can increase at a faster rate. So if I was showing this using ADAS diagrams, I can do it in a Keynesian world. So the outward shift in LRAS from LRAS 1 to 2 would show potential economic growth, which has been driven by supply side policies, or we can show it in a classical world again by an LRAS curve shifting outwards, and which will again enable more potential economic growth. Really good words to remember linked to supply side policies are policies that are designed to improve productivity and to make economies more efficient. So productivity and efficiency are really important words. So remember, supply side policies are policies designed to make the LRAS curve shift outwards, to improve or increase the country's factors of production. Now when we're thinking about supply side policies, these can be either market based policies or they can be interventionist policies. So in theme 1 we spent ages looking at the free market economy, supply and demand. So what we could argue is that sometimes the market knows best. So some supply side policies are about the government saying, you know what, the free market will do a much better job at fixing problems in the economy than what the government will do. So we're allowing the free market to improve efficiency and productivity. And we'll think about different ways in a moment or two about how we can go about doing that. We can also use what we call interventionist supply side policies. So these are about the government intervening more and taking more control of the economy. So this could be about fixing market failures across society. And again, if this works well, this could also improve both efficiency and productivity. So both these two policies will make the LRAS curve shift outwards. The big difference is this one is about the government reducing its role in the state and promoting the virtues of the free market economy, whereas an interventionist government would say, you know what, the government knows best, it's the government's job to improve the productive capacity of the economy. Now before we start thinking about which is which, you've got here a range of different policies that can be used to create potential economic growth. So what we've got here first of all is promote competition. Now you've got to think about competition first of all. If we were to put people into a race, the logic would be people want to win races, and if we can bring more people into that race, it means that to win that race you've got to fight harder, work harder, become more efficient, do a better job. What we want to do is to create more competition for British businesses. So if we were to think about one particular industry, let's think about the car industry. We don't want just one or two big car companies in our economy. Because what this would mean is if they've got no competition, they haven't got to fight hard to keep customers. If we can bring more firms into the market, what we're doing is we're making those existing car companies fight harder to win their customers. And that might mean they've got to improve their capital, they've got to be more entrepreneurial, to become more efficient and more productive, to bring down their prices, to get more people to buy their cars. A lot of ways that we do this is about trying to remove what we call barriers, and this is something we can do a lot of in Theme 3. So barriers are in effect brick walls that businesses struggle to overcome to enter markets. So what we could do, for example, we could remove regulations that might cost businesses money, which makes it easy for new firms to enter markets. So when you think about it, if you've got more firms in the economy producing things, that's more enterprise. And if you've got more competition, you've got more efficiency and productivity improvements going on in order to gain customers. Now what we could also do to promote competition, we could offer loans and grants to new businesses wanting to enter the market. And again, that would allow more firms to enter and it would create more competition. Now protectionism is something that we've looked at before. This is where governments put restrictions in place to limit foreign goods coming into an economy. This could be tariffs, what we call in effect a tax. Now the problem with this is it limits competition. So what we could also do to promote competition is to remove protectionist policies. So this would be about saying to business, look, you are now in competition with foreign businesses across the world. If you want British customers to keep buying your products, you've got to fight harder. You've got to beat those Germans, those French, those Italian, those American companies if you want people to buy your products. And again, this should inspire businesses to become more productive and more efficient. Now, other things that we can do is to promote something that we call privatisation. And again, this is going to be a big policy that we look at in Theme 3. This is where the government take big owned state industries. So this could be the health service, in the past it could be utilities, and we allow private businesses to buy these state-owned businesses. And the logic is because it's now been run by private businesses, they want to make profit. And again, this should spearhead lots of investment into productivity and efficiency improvements. Now the next ones are a lot simpler. Labour markets. Remember, labour is a key factor of production. If we can make it better or make it increase in number, again this will make the LRAS curve shift outwards. Now what we could argue is what we could do, we could reduce unemployment benefits. Remember, unemployment benefits protect people against poverty or extreme poverty when they're not working, but what they also do, they also reduce the opportunity cost of not working. So if we can remove unemployment benefits or reduce them, you're forcing more people to go and get jobs, and that should increase the supply of labour, which would again lead to the LRAS curve shifting outwards. What we could also do is to make work pay more money. So if you were to increase minimum wages, you're incentivising more people to get jobs, and again that could increase the supply of labour. Now on that theme as well, what we could also do to increase the supply of labour is to promote immigration. If we can attract more foreign people into our economy, we've got a bigger labour supply, but also those people will come into our country with better skills and better ideas and more technology that maybe our economy lacks. So again, these things can boost the productivity of our economy. Now it's also worth mentioning these. Again, these are Theme 3, but they're really, really good things to be aware about. Geographical immobility of labour. This is where geography stops people accepting or looking for jobs. So you might be living in one area of the country, but the jobs might be available elsewhere. So these policies are designed to help people move or commute bigger distances for work. So this could be about upgrading housing supplies in areas of the country where people can't afford to move to. So it could be about tackling the north-south divide, for example, help people in the north travel to the south for better paid jobs, giving businesses a bigger supply of workers. Occupational immobility is about upgrading the skills of workers. It's about tackling structural unemployment. So remember, this is people who lack skills for jobs. If we can upgrade skills, people are more able to accept jobs. So what all these different things do, they lead to a bigger, a more incentivised and more productive workforce for the economy. Now on that theme as well, what we could also do is to look at policies designed specifically to raise the quality of the workforce. So improve education, improve skills, help people find and gain the skills that businesses need. And again, if firms can recruit better workers, they become more productive as a company. Infrastructure, so we could be looking here at road networks, access to broadband supplies. This eases congestion. It allows people to travel bigger distances for work. It allows firms to move things more efficiently across the country. So again, what these things do, they're designed to promote potential economic growth. Now one final one, raise the quality of capital. So this could be about research and development, encouraging firms to invest more into capital so they've got a more productive production line equipment. It could be about trying to help businesses acquire skills and technology from abroad to enable them to become more productive when they produce goods and services. Now let's just sort of link it now to market-based and interventionist. What you could argue market-based ones could be policies designed to promote competition. So trying to remove barriers from markets to allow more firms to grow and flourish and compete with each other. Removing protectionism is also a market-based policy. We're forcing more of our businesses to compete with foreign firms. So again, it's about removing the role of the state. Privatisation, encouraging again more private businesses would be a market-based strategy. Now you could even argue removing unemployment benefits is a market-based strategy. You're forcing more people to stand on their own 2 feet to gain jobs, etc. If I was looking at interventionist strategies, we could argue more government spending into education and healthcare and transport is about the government stepping up its role and helping people find better jobs and become more productive. We could even say quality of capital could be upgraded by more government subsidies to firms to allow them to have more funds available to invest into their businesses. So everyone remember, overall supply side policies can be either market based or interventionists. Just one more thing I want to say on this sort of topic here. You've got here the benefits and the drawbacks of supply side policies. So first of all, the good things about them are they reduce inflation. These policies are designed to improve both productivity and efficiency. They should lower costs of production, so it should ease inflationary pressures in the economy. Now what they also do, if these policies make our businesses more productive and more efficient, it should improve our country's international competitiveness. Now what this should do is to allow our country to export more across the world, because suddenly our products are more competitive in foreign markets. It makes imports less attractive in favour of British goods and services, so it could almost promote more export-led economic growth. Now of course, if it brings down prices or reduces inflation, that creates benefits for consumers as well. It allows for this, more actual economic growth. If we expand the capacity of our economy, it means that we've got more output we can produce. And again, that should translate into better wages and better living standards for our economy. Now also as well, it's worth mentioning this. Workers can only be paid what they're worth, the incomes they generate for their employers. If workers do become more productive because they're better skilled or they're working with better capital, they're generating more incomes and profits for their employers. And that will not only create more jobs, it will also allow workers to negotiate higher rates of pay, which should also lead to better living standards. Now there are some problems with these policies. The first one is time lags. Let's say, for example, we wanted to improve education standards so people leave school with better skills. Well, a lot of these policies might take years to implement and then work their way through the education system. So these things could take up to 15-20 years to benefit the economy. Upgrading transport infrastructure, for example, again, can take 15-20 years. So these things aren't going to benefit us right here, right now. They're also very, very expensive. if we were to look at the high-speed 2 train line to upgrade our infrastructure, it's going to cost upwards of 30–40 billion pound. So funding these things is very, very difficult to do. And we've got to bear in mind as well that funding these things will carry opportunity costs. If we're spending 30 or 40 billion pound on new train lines, that's 30 or 40 billion pound that cannot go towards education or healthcare. So overall, everyone, supply side policies are vital. They create huge benefits for our society, but ultimately there are limits to how successful these policies can be. So guys, there you go, supply side policies.